Good morning, everybody. This is Ruth with um, Wisdom Weavers. I always get it mixed up coaching wisdom, wisdom weavers, all different names for what I do. And boy, I'm coming to you today, again, not to do card reading just yet at this point, but still thinking through a lot of the story that I told yesterday. And as I go forward thinking about mothers and daughters, I'm getting more excited, more connected, and realizing that this topic is really important for so many of us who are healing through our lives, who are bringing ourselves forward and bringing ourselves out into the light and bringing our light to other people. So today's topic is not going to be easy. Believe me, I had to go into a bit of prayer. I had to talk to my mom about this, even though she has passed. I talk to her all the time. I would even venture to say that my mom and I have a better experience now that she has passed into the spirit world because those human barriers aren't there. So yesterday I talked about relationship with my mother and how it had changed my life completely and how it made me afraid to bring my joy forward. It made me want to hide. It caused a lot of issues. And I want to talk about that some more because this morning I was thinking about that. First of all, after doing the live yesterday, for all of you who have done lives and who have brought yourself out in vulnerability, you can imagine that I was kind of laying low yesterday, feeling really vulnerable after coming out with some of the things that I talked about. But I recovered, and I had a beautiful comment from Jess. So if you're out there, Jess, thank you for acknowledging that you saw my story. And I got confirmation from someone else that I know who means a lot to me. So that keeps me going forward. So as I think of mother daughter processes and who we become is largely through our mothers, who we become as women. And I got to thinking this morning about why does jealousy from other women hit me so hard? And I started thinking about the whole mean girl syndrome and that we were introduced to in a shocking way, probably about the age of 10 or 11. Before that, that didn't exist normally, but around that age, that happens to us. And we start understanding what cruelty really is and how we can feel victimized by other people who are women, girls. So I started thinking back, when was my first mean girl experience? What happened there? And I was blown away because I realized the first mean girl experience that I had was with my mother. My mother brought me that experience. And I remember being ridiculed when I would shine too bright, being made fun of, being cut down to size, being told I wasn't good, being told I was too something, too loud, too confident. And Isaiah, I know that you talk about your process about being too much woman. And I think as women, we're pushed down very easily, very quickly when we're young. Um, wow, this is pretty heavy stuff. So if you're not into this morning, I would suggest you pop off of the live because this is me just coming out with something I think is very important in a process to understand the mother-daughter relationship. So as I was talking about, my mother brought me my first mean girl experience and she made fun of me. And that's pretty painful when you think about that. I'm not in pain now because of it, because I'm away from it. So a long time ago, someone told me once that when you have a painful experience or you go through grief, putting some time between it is like standing right in front of the Empire State Building When it's that immediate, it seems huge. It seems like you cannot even deal with what's going on. But if you push yourself back and move further and further and further away from it, it never disappears, but it does get smaller. It does create less chaos. Good morning, Mary. Good to see you here. I'm talking about some tough stuff, mother daughter relationships. And the reason is because, I've been talking with a group of women about doing some kind of renewal retreats having to do with mother daughter. And when I brought this up in my group, it was filled with a lot of emotion. And so I started thinking what that was for me. So, Mary, yesterday I did a live that kind of lays the groundwork for what I'm talking about today. But today I'm talking about my first mean girl introduction was through my mother. And to have that realization this morning blew me away. And yet it was another puzzle piece. So yesterday I talked about how when we have painful moments in our today, somehow if we can connect them to something before, because that pain means something, it creates this puzzle piece. And when it comes together, we get it. And this morning I got some more of that. So I actually just spent some time talking to my mom, even though she's passed. And I want you all to know that she approves this message, so I don't feel shame or blame. And our society shies away from messages like this because your mother is revered on high. And no matter what she did or who she was or what happened, we are never to speak of it. We are always to honor our mother. And I'm here to tell you that in talking about this, I am honoring my mother. I'm honoring that she was a human being who lived on this earth. She was a young girl. She was terrified. She came here from another country. She started hearing voices. She didn't have any kind of help with that. I always believe, or I believe now anyway, that the voices she heard were not an illness, but that she needed help in understanding that and working with that. I think my mom walked two worlds. But in all of that, she was a human being. And when we are human, what we do sometimes causes pain for others. And when we have daughters, we want to protect them. I think of my relationship with my daughter, and when did I keep her from shining her light? When did I ask her not to? It was those times when I was afraid for her. I was afraid because the way I grew up, if you shine your light, you're pushed down. You're told that's not right. You're too much something. You're too much joy. You're too much happiness. You're too much confidence. You're too much living life. And in the era that I grew up in, you couldn't do that. A woman had to be a certain way. And either you completely rebelled and were the opposite of that, or you conformed. There was nothing in between. There was no room for being human. And I think of that with my own daughter, how because I didn't know, I passed that on to her. So our mean girl experiences can come from our own mothers. And then we take that into life. And when I was in my, I don't know, early teens, I had an experience where I was a part of a group of girls who victimized another girl and made fun of her. It was short. I did that. That has never left me. The pain I got from doing that to another human being has never left me. And after that, I decided I wasn't going to be any part of that. So friendships have been hard. Relationships have been hard. Understanding why somebody would throw you under a bus for no reason, it's hard. What I learned in life was to not shine my light. Don't shine it. Don't show people. Don't be too bright. Don't be too confident. Don't be too anything, because if you do, it's not safe. And it is safe. I think that's the big lie of society. And I almost believe that that whole thing about revering our mothers and they can not be human is a part of the patriarchy. And it's a part of keeping us down. Why can't we be human? Why can't we be real? And why can't I tell you that my mother was the source of my first mean girl experience? Because when I know that, when I feel that, I can understand that. I can understand that maybe she was trying to protect me. Maybe she was insecure. Maybe she didn't like how I was so everything. It doesn't matter. The love still stands. The love between my mother and myself is still there. It's always there. And I talk to her all the time now. So I feel like I'm rambling now because I'm getting kind of lost in my thoughts. But I wanted to come out and talk about it because I think that we don't talk about it enough. Mary, yes, epiphanies are wonderful. We're so alike, sister. Yes. I think a lot of us are more alike than we even share. And when we are able to kind of embrace our entire experience as mothers, as daughters, then what we're doing is we're embracing the whole. We're not pushing off part of it and saying that couldn't have happened, that didn't happen. Yeah, it happened. Yeah, we're human. Our mothers were human. Our daughters are human. Sometimes we like each other. Sometimes we don't like each other. Sometimes we love each other. Sometimes we have deep angst over the loss of one another as mothers and daughters. But whether we're a mother and daughter who has lost each other, who has loved each other, who has harmed each other, the bond is so strong. And strength in a bond doesn't always feel great. I mean, I have so many people I've talked to. If I could do a study and talk about how many people have had experiences that they have hidden, have buried, have not even admitted to themselves with their mothers, with their daughters, I think that we could fill volumes. And it's a time right now to come out with this. It's time for me to come out with this. It's a time to bring this forward, not to wallow in the pain, not to cause myself more pain, but to look at where the pain that I might still feel connects to something else. Maybe it was a lie I bought into. Maybe it was the times in society. Maybe the intention wasn't what I thought it was. And to put those puzzle pieces together and to say, oh, okay, I can live with this. Mary, I agree. Then we don't feel so lost when others share similar experiences. Yeah. So I don't know if you came on yesterday, Mary, but I said some pretty hard stuff. And I know a lot of people saw the video, but it was very hard, so nobody commented, or one person commented. And I don't need to have the comments. I don't even need to have any particular person see this unless it means something to you. But I want to start the conversation about healing ourselves, and how we heal ourselves is through looking at our mother-daughter experience. It's the very first experience we have. And when, as in my case, I was ridiculed by my mother, I do believe that there were issues there that she couldn't talk about. I didn't feel that she liked me as a person. That can trip you up for most of your life until you figure out what's going on. So, that being said, I want you all to know that I come to you in joy today. I come to you with love, and I come to you with a very difficult topic, the whole thing about mean girls and why it bothers me so much when I experienced that as an adult, and I'm hypersensitive to that now. So maybe with the new realizations, I won't be as hypersensitive. Maybe I'll be more understanding. Maybe I won't hide myself away when I feel that energy or that vibe start to happen among women that I care about and that I love. And more than anything, maybe in understanding all of this, in embracing it, in getting approval from my mom this morning by going to her in spirit and saying, "Gosh, should I talk about this?" And she said, "Yes." My mom wants to be remembered as a human being, not as a statue, not as somebody who was untouchable. I know that. She wants to be remembered for who she is. And she had her pain and her joy and her sorrows. And she had her good times. She had her difficult times. So, that being said, I know, heavy stuff. Happy Saturday. And I will come back pretty soon to read some cards and go from there. So, I'm going to end this live right now. Thanks, Mary. I'm going to end this live right now and think more and more about mother-daughter relationships, how we can use that for healing, how we can use that for joy, how we can move forward in strength for ourselves, how we can move forward in strength and bring our daughters along with us. I remember once I had a healing from someone who practiced the emotion code, and you can read more about that, but it has to do with us storing memories and feelings in our bodies and releasing that. And I was told that when we heal ourselves, we heal the generations before us that brought us those things. And so, in talking to you today about my mom, about her diagnosis of schizophrenia, about the abuse that I felt, about the shame, about the ridicule, what I'm doing today is healing that for us, for me, for my mom, for my daughter, so that we can all live in joy, whether we're living in this world, the next world, and for my daughter, the world to come. She's got more ahead of her. So, thanks for listening. Whoa, big deep breaths. Anyway, I will come back pretty soon to read some cards.